What is owning your own company? What has it allowed you to do? How has it impacted your life? And mainly, like when you were first getting started, what did you think the big challenges were going to be for doing this?
So first of all, what it has allowed me to do is grow, and not, I mean, personal growth, obviously, growth as an engineer, sure, growth in knowledge, growth in people that work for me and work with me, growth and opportunity. There's literally no end to the opportunity and the growth that you're going to see when you go through with this. Obviously, a lot of people who are doing regular wage jobs, especially at larger engineering firms or perhaps engineering firms where they're doing the same thing over and over again, the idea of growth is kind of like a pipe dream. Maybe you learn about the latest code that handles this small, tiny calculation that you've done every year for 10 years in a row or something like that. But you really don't get the opportunity outside of a few very particular firms to go out and do something amazing, try something new, be better at what you are, challenge yourself. The fear is that I'm going to go out on my own. I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to be smart enough. I'm not going to have the business. I'm not going to have the clientele. Those are all legitimate concerns to have. I've been in business 10 years. I've never been in want for work. Not 1 year have I had a place where I said, oh no, I'm not getting enough work. And this is what I think structural engineers don't understand. There is so much work out there for us.
Right. How has it like impacted your life? What are some of the things that you're able to do working for yourself, maybe for you or your family or for others that you weren't really able to do when you were working the standard 9 to 5 job?
Well, I have an interesting principle. It may be controversial, but one of the principles of my business is you work for rich people so that you can help poor people for free. One of the things that I could never do when I was working for a typical wage job at a big corporation, my license was kind of like not really mine to use how I wanted. Now I can step into charity projects. I can find little Miss Watson down the road who's threatened to have her power cut off if she doesn't get something up to code really fast, and she needs someone to rescue her. Hey, I can do that. I can teach more often. I can go to building officials and go to bat for people's cases when some code regulation is keeping a person from having his livelihood taken away from him. All of these things are possible when you're out on your own. Obviously, yeah, you make more money, more time with your wife and kids. But more than that is a bigger world out there. And I think big corporations, especially your larger engineering firms, as the bigger they get, it seems the smaller the world is for the people that work for them.
What did you think the big challenges were going to be? And then how were you wrong? What were the things that were keeping you from getting started? And now, when you're on the other side of it, do you see how you were completely off base?
Obviously, the biggest challenge is, hey, when do you take this leap? There are wrong times to take the leap. And I think that I would have been wrong to take the leap before I did. And knowing that there are things you can objectively measure for when to take the leap, that's important. So some of those fears, some of those concerns are completely legitimate, but we need to be able to mitigate those and say, when can we say that's not a valid concern anymore? So obviously my first concern was not going to have enough work. I go out on my own. I don't get my steady paycheck. That matters. That's important. Now, after a decade working in the industry, I've realized that's the least of my concerns. There is also the concern of just going into the unknown. Engineers, you could put a technical problem in front of a good engineer. He's in his zone. He is happy to be there. He's got codes, he's got references, he's got mathematical models, all these things at his disposal. And if not, he's got someone he knows that knows more than him, and he can help him do it.
Sure.
And my hope is that with a few metrics, you can get out there and say, hey, is my financial situation good? Is my income decent enough? Do I have a good chunk of the market as big of a chunk as I need to go forward? If I got those handled, great. It's time to make the jump. So I was wrong about not having enough work. I was way wrong about my own abilities as an engineer because I thought, well, shoot, I'm smart, right? I'm an intelligent guy. I'll run a business, no problem. There's a lot of stuff to running a business that is not going to be natural to an engineer. But the good thing is engineers are smart. You can figure it out.
Sure.
It's not insurmountable, but just because you're an ace at structural analysis does not mean that you're an ace at running a business.
Very well said. Very well said.